YouTube, we're back with another hot takes. New week, happy holidays, and make sure to come to Twitch because you can get your Reinhardt skin drops by hanging out here and participate in the hot takes live, like these guys are, with very, very yellow duck shaking asses with good contribution. Anyways, let's begin. First hot take. Competitive mystery heroes is the best indicator of a player's overall skill and game sense in Overwatch 2. There's no one-tricking and no counter-picking. Alts are much rarer but way more impactful as a result. Bracket, you have to survive to earn it. And overcoming wild enemy comps like 2 Mercies, 2 Zaryas, and a Brig with a scuffed lineup is the definition of carrying games. You are at the mercy of the game, not the meta. It should be a permanent mode. All right, hot take or cold take? That's definitely flames, bro. I'm gonna say this is a pretty hot take, but not to the level of like a Charizard like flamethrower. I'll dial it down a notch because I do think competitive mystery heroes or mystery heroes itself can showcase hero mechanics. That part is true, okay? Being able to roll any hero and being comfortable enough to have impact on the game and do pretty well and can convert some sort of play with what your team has is a good representation of individual hero mechanics and adaptability. Adaptability is one of the metrics I gauge a player's skill on. But that being said, game sense in a fixed controlled environment like role queue with 1 tank, 2 DPS, 2 supports with some variables stable like that is a whole different ball game and also part of the skill of a hero. So while it does indicate one aspect of skill, you're missing the other half, which is developing strategies based on some, something a bit more structured. This one's just more chaos. But I will agree with the end of the part where it says it should be a permanent mode. I think it's fun. Okay, next hot take. Also, yeah, I can't read all these hot takes, but or the people in the chat, but I don't know if you guys are flaming me or not. We'll see. Hot take. Junkrat should take damage from his primary fire like every other hero with an explosive. Hey, he used to do that, by the way. If he is going to be as spammy hero as he is, he should have to aim from a distance and be weak at close ranges by risking killing himself. I hate Junkrat players, so part of me wants to agree and be like, yeah, he should take damage, but I'm going to be honest, it's not a great take because it's not really a hot take because they've tried it before. I'm pretty sure Junkrat came out and he did take self-damage from his own nades. And it was a big problem because like early on in Overwatch, he would accidentally bounce and it would just accidentally bounce back and hit you. And you would just take damage for absolutely no reason. Although some people would argue, yeah, if you're getting really lucky kills by just spamming and it bouncing on an enemy, you should also suffer the same fate if you just bounce it off a close wall and hit yourself. And D.Va could also die to her own bomb as well. Yeah, I don't think so because it's like, listen, like I said, I don't like Junkrat players, but I'm actually a person that does favor good game balance for every player. So I'm looking out for not only my own skin, but I do want to take care of the 5 Junkrat mains in the chat and people watching this because it would not be fun for them as well. You know what I mean? If the hero had such a annoying mechanic for themselves. And getting close up to like as a Junkrat, flanking and going up close is actually a pretty strong strategy, but a little risky as well, right? You can one-shot easier, but you are certainly more vulnerable to other things. So yeah, he shouldn't take damage from his primary fire. He does get knock-up from it though. You can actually do a couple of wall jumps without using your mine, using that strategy with Junkrat, but that's for a different video. Next hot take. Supports, ooh, this is gonna be spicy. Supports should always be overpowered. I play DPS, and I'm happy that there are players who do play support because personally, I don't have a lot of fun with many of the support characters. If supports were weaker, less people would play them, and queue times would be longer. This is a pretty hot take. Can we get some evil OOs or whatever the other fire emojis are? Jesus. Listen. I get it from a personal level where you want faster queue times, and I appreciate you looking out for support players because you want them to have fun so the queues are faster, but support's already the most queued role. It's already a popular role regardless. And number 2, support should not always be overpowered. This is the part where I critique your hot take. Support should be balanced. DPS should be balanced, and tanks should be balanced. All roles should be balanced. Nothing should be overpowered, including supports. That would be the most fun. Thank you for listening. Next hot take. Tank is the strongest role in the game by far. The whole reason the tank heroes are so good is because there is nothing that gets as much value as killing or CCing a tank. When one person on the team has half of the entire team's EHP, effective HP, most tanks have an effective health of over 1000. Of course, they are going to have to be the first person you kill. Same for the healing. The healing isn't anywhere near as strong on 200 HP characters that can be killed with burst damage or when more than one person shoots at them. God damn. God damn. You know what? Not a hot take. Malga, probably the strongest tank in the game right now as of making this video. He's kind of dictating everything because he's really good, but he does need some resources. Okay. So you say tank is the strongest because they get the most value. You get the most value as a team by killing their tank, but that's not the reason. It's not because they're the strongest role. It's because they're the role that just simply has the most HP and can stay alive technically the longest with all their mitigation abilities like shields or matrixes like sucks and everything. And because killing them generates the highest value for the team because there's only one of them, not two of them. That's the first thing. And number two, they usually have the most CC. They did move most of the stuns in the game to mostly tanks and some supports, not all supports. You know, like Sigma Rock, Orissa's like Boop and the Spear, Rhine Shatter, Sigma Flux, Grav, Cage Fight. All the CC is onto them, so they're generally high value. But again, that doesn't mean they're the strongest role. In fact, because they are the only one, they actually have to be powerful, if that makes sense. Or they have to have very game-changing abilities, which is, I will say, why the tank ultimates are generally pretty good. People can argue the role's weak, but I mean, is there anything else that's as strong as like Grav or the Cage Fight right now? I guess support ultimates, but that's like a team enabling ultimate. In terms of like raw CC power, those tank ults in the game are good. Minus Doomfist, I take that back. But that being said, I wouldn't say they're the strongest role. I think the unanimous agreement is that supports are the strongest role because the tanks are only allowed to succeed because of all the healing and the utility that the supports offer for the tanks. So they kind of like go hand in hand, right? But yeah, I would not say they're the strongest role. I would give that to supports as a support main, I will say. Okay, next. I don't know if this is a hot take, but maybe the right way to do the penalty for leaving Quickplay games right now could be to make the penalties over how much time the player was in the match. If he leaves at the start of the match, we don't hit him too heavy, and if he leaves in the middle of the match, he gets a full kick in his harmony orbs. Okay, so this is the discussion with the whole backfilling issue that's been happening and the lever penalty. Some people are saying, why am I banned for so long? Because I left 6 of my last 20 games. They've even suggested if you have internet issues, definitely just hit the practice range before you queue up. And like leaving 6 out of 20 is a lot of games to be leaving. They understand if you have like a kid or responsibilities, like you have to leave sometimes, but like the other part is on you. Don't start any live service game, League, Overwatch, don't queue a game if you actually have to go or like you have obligations and you're kind of like risking playing a game. That's like, you know, it's annoying for other people to have somebody leave a quick play game and getting some guy backfilling and the backfiller gets annoyed. He's like, fuck, I'm in a backfill game. Oh, we're already losing. The momentum's already not on our side. Leaving is just not fun. So this is not really a hot take. I feel like there could be something there to assess time in game to kind of equate how much of a penalty. But generally speaking, just don't leave. Just play it out. And if the game ends like it's 99%, just wait till the defeat screen comes up and then leave. Because I actually think some people are getting the lever penalty because they leave literally in the last 10 seconds. You're about to lose, they're about to hit the payload, and they preemptively leave. Just sit through it. Just be responsible with your time. That's it. Like getting backfilled, because you leave, it's kind of a cascading effect. Because if someone backfills, it's tilting. They're like, fuck, I don't want to play a backfill game. And then it's like, well, I have like 3 out of my last 20 I left. I'll just leave this one because I don't want to backfill. Because somebody left early, it makes the backfiller not want to play the game, and then they also want to leave. You know what I mean? Something like that. Unless you actually like backfilling, which is pretty rare. Okay, next. I think chaos created by crazy damage and healing, sustain and other things is the most fun part of Overwatch. Such chaos is unique to Overwatch as an FPS game. Removing all types of CC will remove that and make the game dry as every other FPS game. One-shots are there to stop the creation of chaos, therefore one-shots should never be removed. If you don't like the chaos, pick a one-shot character and end the fight before the chaos starts. In my opinion, Rush and Brawl are the most fun to play and watch just because it's so much chaos. Overwatch is the only FPS game I can think of that has such chaos. If we remove what makes Overwatch, it will die even harder. Okay, there's the word chaos. What's the chaos counter in that one? Jesus. Honestly, not the hottest take. I actually agree with you where the most fun of Overwatch is the high tempo, high intensity, chaotic spewing of abilities and things, especially when you're in the midst of it and it's a close match. It can be very exhilarating, and it's probably one of the reasons why the game is still succeeding, still doing pretty well. I wouldn't say succeeding, that's a bit of a subjective definition, but relatively speaking, it's still like 7 years and we're still alive and doing pretty well. We'll take that, right? There's you guys watching this video, which means you're a fan. At least I hope you are, unless you just hate watching Overwatch or myself. Okay, cool. That being said, what part do I need to like nitpick on this? One-shots are there. One-shots are kind of a necessary eel to stop the sustain a little bit, but like Widowmaker has been in the game forever, same with Hanzo. The live service game. What else was I annoyed at with one-shots? Doomfist punches, but they kind of got rid of that unless he gets empowered. One-shots are a little bit of a necessary evil against the sustain. Honestly, there's not much to disagree with. I personally agree with this. Not everybody will, but I agree with the chaos thing. And I do agree that removing all CC will actually... I don't know about making it dry, but from a gameplay perspective, if you remove all types of CC, it means dive will be the best meta because there's nothing to stop Doom, Tracer, and Sombra from having the high movement stuff. I actually prefer playing Rush and Brawl just like you, but a lot of the high-level DPS players love movement heroes, and that goes for a lot of FPSs too. It's why Jett is really popular in Valorant, and Raze with the double mind jumping. That's why Tracer's popular here, Doomfist. No matter how, or Genji, no matter how the meta is, people love high movement and skill expression heroes. And you need CC, and if you don't have CC, those players will run rampant, and it'll be fun for them and miserable for everybody else who doesn't like playing that meta forever. I think having a mix like Overwatch with many, many different characters of different styles and archetypes is what makes it fun, and when you can have metas where maybe one thing is stronger than the other, you can try different compositions and they all work at certain times, I think I'm okay with that. Okay, next hot take. Bring back the ability for multiple players to play the same hero, but max it to 2 of the same so it's balanced. That's an Elmo fire if I've ever seen one. No. No. Do I need to say anything else? No. That was 2016. How on earth is that going to be balanced? That's a whole nother can of worms to balance for people having multiple. There's already... Somebody can do the math with the factorials and the amount of heroes in each role. You can already have like over... Is it over 1 million different compositions based on the current selection of heroes? You can iterate a lot already. If you have 2 of the same as another option, that's just too hard to balance. Hot take, there are no counters. Every hero is viable within any team comp, against any team comp. Sometimes to be effective, you have to change your behavior, but you never have to change your hero. There are so many impactful behavioral changes you can make that don't involve swapping. For example, taking different sightlines, play more or less cautiously, prioritizing targets differently, play the point instead of playing for kills, play closer or further from your team, get sneaky, get brave, use comms, etc. You know, I was gonna write off the first hot take, but you're kind of cooking here. A hero swap is the most socially visible thing you can do if things aren't going well, but it amounts to virtue signaling. Okay, instead, you should do more mentally taxing things, like use your suffering to learn how to play your hero better. I would almost prefer... I would always prefer my teammates to play the hero they're most familiar with, rather than the hero that they think counters the opponent's composition. Get into a groove and stay there. If you are also losing significant ult charge on swap, it's disastrous. My take on the whole counter dichotomy is there's actually parts of this for sure that I actually agree with. So this isn't actually that fire or hot of a take. It's like a medium warm take for me. Okay, first of all, I wouldn't say there are no counters, and I will never say there's a counter where it's like 100-0. If you pick this hero, you instantly win the game because it beats that one. I think that's false. That's a very, like, what do you call it? Is it hyperbolic, a hyperbole kind of thing, and a big exaggeration? It's like, oh, they picked Roadhog and I'm on ball. GG's, we insta lose. But like, that's a very like wide hyperbolic. Maybe that's the word I'm looking for. Because obviously, like, if you're playing in unfavorable matchups, you're actually right where there are impactful behavioral changes you can make that don't involve swapping. You playing around your counters. There are like Ryan one tricks like Cloudy, who can like learn how to play against all the bad matchups because he's really good at like understanding how to navigate things that are unfavorable. That being said, there are things that are soft counters. I don't really believe in true hard counters. I think one hero that's a hard counter by the community is just a counter, not a hard one, but something you can definitely still win against. Instead of being a 50-50, maybe it's like a 55-45 now in their favor, but you can certainly make changes, adjusting angles, to certainly win. Now the thing is, if there's all 5 players are playing heroes that are already a 55-45 favorable matchup on your end, then obviously the game becomes a 75-25 when you add it all up or whatever, right? 5 people with a plus 5%. Now you can play Ryan against 5 counters, and 3 out of 4 games you'll probably lose because it's a 75-25. But then you'll win a quarter of your games still due to other factors, big plays, big shatters, whatever. If that makes sense. I also do agree hero swapping is the most visible things that people will assume will change the thing. I don't know about the whole virtue signaling part. That one got a little weird and something. The mentally taxing thing is using your suffering to learn how to play hero better. I feel like that could have been worded a little bit better. I'm gonna be honest with you. But I understand the point you're trying to make where like the whole idea of learning how to play against your counter, you know what I mean? And learning the pain of that, converting that intrinsic motivation to kind of like figure out how to improve on that. The last part, let me unpack this. You would always prefer you play the hero that they're most familiar with. I agree with that. I actually don't really tell people to swap that often, if ever. I'll suggest it, but like I'm not gonna like tell people what to do because I find that tilts people, number one, and number two, people hate getting backseated in a game, myself included. Somebody tells me to do XYZ, feels like very commanding, even though it's a team game. I get it, blah blah blah. It's a psychological thing. Like sometimes they'll ask, like, yo, do you think can you play Lucio? I'm like, I can, sure. It's more of like, you need to do this now. I'm like, don't fucking tell me what to do, motherfucker. You know what I mean? That's how people tend to respond to things like that, right? A lot of people do get really good on one hero and they're at that rank on that hero. And if they do end up swapping, they are going to generally perform worse than the average player at that rank who also plays that hero. So generally I don't tell one tricks to swap. I learn to play around them. That's just my style of play. Mercy mains will always Mercy main. Ball mains will always ball main. Genji mains will always Genji main. You can't control what other people do, and I'm not going to tell what other people should do. I focus on me. That has worked out for me. I finished my top 500 placements now. I don't tell people what to do. I just play my game. I don't care. I don't even look at people's profiles 99% of the time. I've learned a lot from Emong. We talked at the thing because like a lot of creators and people, like they get very frustrated with people like, oh, why is this diamond player in this lobby or whatever? And Emong's like, I don't care. I don't look. I don't give a fuck. And I'm like, me too. I agree with you, Emong. I'm just like you. I don't look at people's ranks. I just play my game, and if I win, great. And if I lose, like, I let my game, my own gameplay and my skill do the talking, and I let the rank take care of itself. And Emong is always in top 50 right now. He doesn't look at anybody's profile anytime, ever. And I do that now too. I don't look. I don't care. I focus on me. That's it. So shout out to Emong. Inspiring mental fortitude. Blah blah blah. So I would always prefer my hero. Okay, what they think would counter. Get into a groove and stay there. True. And if you are losing on the swap, can be disastrous. True. So yeah. Anyways, not the hottest take, but it could be worded nicer. Okay. It's true though, right? I mean, I'm always sleeping when Emong's streaming, but like he's physically told me he doesn't look it up, but anybody who watches him regularly can probably confirm he never looks at people's profiles. He just plays his game. Okay, next. Last two. Hot take. You should only be able to switch heroes at 50% alt or higher. This prevents the lose first fight and switch with no penalty, but also eliminates free character switch when under the 20% ultimate threshold. No, I think that gatekeeps. This is a bit of a hot take. This is more warmer and flamey than the other ones, because this is kind of running on the previous one where they think counter swapping is kind of what changes the game. But when one person does it, it's not the end of the world, and I think people rely on it too much as a crutch, for sure. And I actually think personally Overwatch is the most fun with hero swapping, because I personally am not a one trick. I play multiple heroes. If my team needs a different style of support, I'm okay to swap to it. That's what keeps me interested. Some people are very hyper fixated on one hero, and that's cool. That's how you play the game. For me, I like the variability of different heroes and compositions. That's what makes it fun. And I think gatekeeping it with like a limiter at 50% will kind of cut what makes Overwatch feel like Overwatch. Last hot take. There should be a penalty for moving and shooting. The DPS passive should be the no penalty for moving and shooting. Oh my goodness. A penalty for being slower? For attacking? Spotted the Valorant player. No. Anyways, that's it for the hot takes. Come back next week. I'll see you guys later.